Happy New Year! Happy New Year! Living at your finest, champions. What a beautiful Wellness Wednesday to be alive in 2021. We made it. We made it past through 2020, and I'm really glad that we are alive. We thank God that we passed through that huddle. Now, this is the first Wellness Wednesday that with Living at Your Finest, that we'll be talking about gut health. I think it's very relevant that we talk about gut health today because we're still in a pandemic. So we scaled through 2020, but we're still in a pandemic. And gut health is so relevant to our immune system. We do need to optimize our immune system. And what better way to do it than to learn about our gut health? Now, one of the quotes that Hippocrates actually said is that all diseases start in the gut. So we need to heal the gut to be able to live at our finest holistic health. So I'm happy to dive into what it entails. Why is it important and what are those steps? So that's what we'll be talking about. I'm Dr. Babs. I am a family physician. I am a health and fitness coach, and I'm the founder of Living at Your Finest company. My passion is to apply a fun, fundamental, and faith-based framework to help women live at their finest holistic health so that they can possess their worth, they can nourish their bodies and spirit, and triumph as health champions. I do share lessons learned from my own personal health struggles, as well as from my just extensive training, but all for educational purposes. So it does not constitute a physician-patient relationship. So please consult your physician for your own specific needs. I'm thrilled today. Welcome again to Wellness Wednesday at Living at Your Finest with Dr. Babs. Thanks for stopping by and investing in your health. Now, I would like for you to just do me a little favor. Please leave a note. I love engagement. I like to hear back from you, what you thought about what we're going to be talking about. And of course, share with your friends and family. And if you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe, all right, so that you don't miss any health-related topics. So thanks again. Let's dive right in. So gut. Let's talk about it. So the gut is also known as the gastrointestinal tract. It's the second brain. It is as valuable as the brain itself, the heart, and other organs. The gut starts in the mouth and travels all the way to the anus. It's the largest part of the gut is definitely the abdominal region, right? It holds the stomach, the small and large intestines. Now, what's interesting about the gut is that it's a network of nerves, right, called the enteric nervous system, contains billions of neurons that connect the gut to the brain. So quite extensive. It does work independent of the brain, but also works together. Have you ever had that feeling where you have a gut feeling, or you're like, my gut instinct, when you're trying to make a decision? Well, that has to do with the brain gut connection. So it took me having my own health challenges to realize how relevant my gut health is. We have to pay attention to what we're eating over the years and what we're feeding ourselves, because it's all interconnected. So I'm going to share evidence-based medicine on why our gut health is important and ways we can accomplish this. So as I mentioned, we have trillions of bacteria in our gut, collectively known as microbiomes. All right, I have a picture I would like to share with you so that you see what that looks like. Pictures paint 1,000 words. Let's share a picture so that you see what that microbiome looks like. So here it is. That's the microbiome. You have trillions of bacteria. We have the good bacteria, we have the bad bacteria. You probably heard your physician talk about normal floras. So that's what it looks like. And you have bacteria in different parts of the body. But today we're specifically talking about the digestive system. All right, let's see, make sure that we're right. So that's what happens. Now, it's important that you know that, yes, we do have bacteria that causes infection and diseases, but majority of the bacteria in our microbiome, which is the collective bacteria, supports our immune system. Immune system, actually, 80% of it is made in the gut. So we need to have proper food in there to be able to build a strong immune system. So the microbiome on its own weighs about 2 to 3 pounds, and there are over 1,000 species of bacteria. All right, and all of them play a different role, as you saw in the picture. Now, you might ask, how did the bacteria get into my body? Now, as you know, as infants, we receive our bacteria from our mothers, right, in the womb during the birth process and throughout life. All right, so throughout life, we're exposed to bacteria through food, animal, plants, dirt, and people. So that's how we get our bacteria, right? But it'll be important for us to know now what roles it plays in our bodies, right? So let's dive into the next part that we're going to talk about. So what's the importance? Our immune system, metabolism, digestion, heart, um, our senses. It helps with weight control and mental health and acne. And I do have a picture here to share with you so that you can see what that looks like. Yes, all the different systems that are, yes, so there we are. We have, oops, right. So that's what we have. We have our immune system. The immune system, as I mentioned, 80% of it is developed in the gut. And so very important. Our digestion, very important. Metabolism, you see there, that metabolism, the way that the good bacteria actually digest the foods is dependent on the bacteria that we have. And the digestion is based on if we have good bacteria that helps to digest the food even better, gives it the nutrients that is needed. As you see here, bacteria in the gut plays a direct role with the synthesis of bacteria, vitamin B and K. So we need to give it the proper food for it to be healthy. Now, obesity, they discovered that, you know, if we have the wrong bacteria, the bad bacteria, then we're not processing our foods properly, and then we have all the, weight gain. Unfortunately, you're like, I'm not eating so much. I don't know why I'm gaining so much weight. That is why, because you're not even processing what you're eating. Inflammation is a key part. It says right here that gut flora likely plays a major role in the development of just bowel problems. So there are tons of um, problems that can arise. Now, there are other things that you need to be aware that can happen. So, for instance, the skin, very important, skin. So, if we don't have the good bacteria in our bloodstream, in our gut, then we're unable to get rid of toxins, right? So, when we're unable to get rid of toxin, the lymphatic system is now going to try its best to get rid of the toxin because our body is not able to digest. And so it comes out through our skin. So skin health is very important. I already spoke about obesity, how relevant and important, how important it is. Now, one part that I want to mention, which was interesting for me, was mental health and emotions. Our gut, it is related to how happy we are. The reason is because the gut actually creates some of the feel good hormones, so the happy hormone, which is serotonin. So whenever we have poor gut health with poor bacteria in our abdomen, we're not able to create those happy hormones. So all of this is definitely affected. Heart health, some studies have shown that there's either an increase or decreased risk of heart disease based on the kind of foods that we eat. So if we're eating a lot of red meat, it might end up forming into a chemical that can form plaques in our arteries. So there are tons and tons and tons of benefits to having a good gut health. Now the question is, well, it's too late for me. I think there's not much I can do about my gut. That's wrong. You can make changes. There are times when you've just had, antibiotics. And that's why we always talk about taking antibiotics for the right reason, getting rid of diseases. If you don't have disease and you take the antibiotics, it's just going to get rid of the normal flora. So times when you just had a round of antibiotics and you've gotten rid of the normal flora, there are things that you can do to replenish and heal the gut. So we talk about probiotics, and I'm going to give you a little bit more information about that. So probiotics, prebiotics to help heal that gut. We talk about healthy food. So there are things that you can do. It's never too late. You've never ruined the whole, the whole gut health that you cannot make a way back. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is steps to improve our gut health. So prebiotics, probiotics, fruits, veggies, all of that's so important. Whole grains, moving, natural products, all of this is very, very important to helping to heal our gut health. Now, I do have a picture again. Let's share that so that you get a sense of what I'm talking about. I'm going to start off with sharing. Yes, let's start off with sharing what that pro and prebiotics mean. So pre just means the food that you feed the bacteria. So there's certain foods that you need to feed the bacteria, and some of those foods are like garlic, bananas, onions, definitely leafy greens. All of that are very, very good to help to feed the bacteria. You have to give it the right food. And then the probiotics are actually the bacteria. The good bacteria is living in our gut to help break down food and support our gut health. And some of those, the ones that I commonly use, is the kimchi. The non-dairy yogurt, you have to be careful because it has a lot of sugar, so you have to make sure you get the right one that doesn't have all the tons of sugar. And there's definitely coconut. So these are the foods to foil the good bacteria in the abdomen. All right. Now, which other one do we have? Let's see what else we have on the list. So fruits and veggies, very important that we make sure that we're eating the right fruits and veggies. Now, the reason why it's so important is because, again, the nutrients. I don't want to belabor that. The nutrients that you get from the fruits and veggies go a long way in replenishing your gut, the gut bacteria. It provides the nutrients that are well needed. Have you heard about fermented foods? Fermented foods are very important to strengthen our immune system because it helps to treat candida, it helps to regulate our sugar, curb just reduce the carbohydrate craving, and it forms a protective lining in the intestinal wall, so it guards against pathogens meaning any bad bacteria. So some of those foods that you might ask, let's share that with you so that you see what those foods look like. Some examples definitely that we have that are commonly seen. Let's see if I have that here. Let's share that. Yes, here we go. Again, it falls under the same thing, fermented foods that are good for you, kimchi, yogurt, cheese. Now, some of you are non-dairy, so you can always use other things that are non-dairy if you're not into cheese. But fermented is always very important because it does help to build that good bacteria that is well needed. Now, what other things do we need to be aware of? Now, diversifying your diet. It's interesting to note that as many good bacteria that we might have in our GI tract, which is our gut, we need to give it several options to be able to strive in our GI tract. What do I mean by that? There's several bacteria and they all feed on different nutrients. So it behooves us to try different foods, different food groups, because you don't know which one you're feeding, which of the bacteria that you're feeding that will serve your body a whole lot of good. So detoxifying your diet would definitely help. I would encourage, and I've been doing this lately, fruits that I've never eaten, I'm trying them out and to see how well that will help with my gut health. Now, whole foods, very important. Research have shown that whole grains help to promote the growth of various beneficial bacteria strains in the large intestines. Definitely a whole lot better than processed foods. More so, it helps to promote healing, reduces inflammation, and reduces the risk of heart disease. So we do need to have lots of whole foods, whole grains, whole foods. When we talk about whole grains, they largely have fiber and non-digestible carbs that the microbiome, which is the bacteria, the good bacteria, that is what it needs to feed on. Now, you might ask, what are some examples of those whole grains? I've always been used to eating rice. That's what I love to eat, but I'm learning to to change my taste buds to be able to heal my gut. So let me show you a picture of what that looks like. All right, so this is it. Get to know your Asian grains. Like we have millets, we have flax seeds, we have quinoa, we have oats. You can also add to that whole grains. You just have to make sure that if you're, you know, eating, you say it's wheat, whole grains, it has to say the first label at the back has to clearly say whole grains and not wheat or anything else. It can't be number 3 or 4. It has to be the first thing that is on the label, that it's whole grains. All right. Now, very important. Other things that I want to stress here is, movement. Movement is so important. Studies have shown that regular exercise increases the species, so the bacteria species. It helps to regulate the gut, and so that it decreases obesity. It's interesting that they found, some scientists in Ireland found that some professional athletes actually had more good bacteria than those that were less active. So movement always helps. Another reason to move, right? So that you can fuel your body with good bacteria. Last but not the least, I have just 2 more to go. Household cleaners. We use a lot of all these chemicals to clean our homes. So yes, we do clean our countertops, have a nice home. But guess what happens? It kills off the good bacteria in our gut. So it's recommended that we should use more naturally based cleaners like baking soda, vinegar, lemon juice. All of that is healthier for us, and it doesn't get rid of our normal gut. Now, last but not the least is playing in the dirt. Isn't it interesting that playing in the dirt, just the soil bacteria, does a lot of good for our bodies. It actually helps to stimulate the good bacteria in our bodies. So playing with the dirt. So I definitely am going to take up gardening. I used to do gardening before, but I thought, oh goodness, I'm just getting messy. But it's good to get messy because studies have shown that there's certain kinds of soil bacteria that help to activate the groups of neurons that are responsible for producing serotonin. So lots of benefits, lots of great benefits. I want to share one last picture with you before we wrap it up. Let's see, and this has to do with, see if I can find it. Yeah, so what I want to share with you is just making sure that we have all of this together in one page. So this is all that we talked about: 10 ways to improve our gut health, increase prebiotics, intake of probiotics, fermented foods, eat more fruits, veggies, leafy greens, diversify our diet, eat more whole grains, follow a 80-20 diet, meaning majority of the time you're eating healthy, and in 20, if you have to, slack up a little here or there, just not make it an everyday thing. Live a movement oriented lifestyle, use natural household cleaners, and get outside and get dirty. So very important. And then the last slide, I have one more to share with you to take it home. What are the do's? What are the do's? So we talked about the things to do, but what are the do not do? So laxatives, I've seen that, I have patients that, unfortunately, if they're not eating healthy, they want the laxative, but you don't want to do that because over a period of time that can affect your gut. So you want to cut back on doing laxatives. You don't want to be a couch potato. You want to substitute your foods for non-inflammatory foods. So all of that, very, very important. Now, as we reflect, um, I want to make sure that we are aware that our health starts from our core. So, health starts from your core. So, again, speaking about cutting back on anything that is inflammatory to the gut, we want to build more of good bacteria. It does help in the long run. All right, so lots of information shared. I hope that this has been helpful. If you're looking to improve your health and vitality, heal from diseases, and gain more energy, you definitely want to start with the gut. That's the first place to start. I've had I've had my own struggles, and I have patients all the time telling me that they just don't know what's going on. They just feel bloated. They just feel very uncomfortable. And that's because the gut is not healed. It's struggling to survive. So starting there with the steps that I've said, definitely baby steps to heal your gut. You can't do them all. Just decide on which one you're gonna work on and gradually build from them. I'm still working on mine, but we just need to be patient and just learn from every experience. So I would like to hear from you which step you would like to take in healing your gut. I hope that you will subscribe if you're watching on YouTube and share with your loved ones so that they can benefit from this information. We're healthier together when we share information with each other. I hope you've been informed now, right? So that we can be transformed and we can triumph together as health champions because you know that you need it. Yes, you need it, you deserve it, and you most certainly can achieve to live at your finest holistic health. Thank you so very much for staying tuned and for watching. I hope that you would return again for another health related episode. Thank you.